Bless his name.
I have found in you, you're a healer that makes all things new. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not going back, I'm moving ahead, here to declare to you, my past is over in you, all things are made new, surrender my life to Christ, I'm moving forward. Oh, you have risen with all power in your hands. You have given me a second chance. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not looking back. I'm moving ahead. Here to declare to you, my
Past is over in you. All things are made new. Surrender my life to Christ. I'm moving forward.
Oh,
Yes, 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 yes.
Praise the Lord.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Giving honor to God, to the pastor of this house, to the queen of this
Can't hear her.
to everyone in their respective places. I thank God for being here. Rena, I thank you for the invitation to come out. To my spiritual mother, Mom, I love you. I thank you for who you are. She is missionary Justine Walker. And when I say she poured into me that if you don't want to heal, this is something that she said to me that stuck to me. If you don't want to heal, I don't want you around me. And I said, wait a minute, hold up. I said, but you're supposed to be my mama. How you gonna tell me that you don't want me around you? She said, be careful what you hear and what you see. And it didn't stick to me because my mother died. My mother died 5 days after I turned 19.
It's okay.
My grandmother who raised me, that lady had some faith that I haven't seen in anybody walking this earth since she died 9 years ago. And how is it that God strategically placed in her years ago that you can raise all the hell you want, lady, but I know where you're going to be. I might not live to see it, but God is going to do a new thing in you. So that's why I won't give up on you. And then he gave me Mama Walker. And Mama Walker was like Mama Johnson, because Mama Johnson would tell me up front, you know you ain't right, so just go on and get away from me, because I can't have you in my presence. I might smack out of you. So I thank God for people that are placed in your life that will tell you the truth, and you need to hear it. Because I was Linda the liar. I was Linda the lesbian. I was Linda I would abuse things or try to buy friends, and I would try to do things to make somebody feel like they loved me.
Yes. Don't I know?
Because out of the spirit of rejection that was birthed in my mother's womb that I didn't know was there. See, my mother never wanted to have a child, and most people don't think that I know that, but God revealed to me that when she found that she was pregnant with me, she said, finally I have something I can love. But then my mother realized giving birth to me wouldn't even make her love me enough to stay around. So before I was created, God knew that I had to go through everything that he put me through to get here right now. Because if I hadn't have gone through that, see all that's right there, that was me. If anybody would have told me that I'd be standing here today, I'd say, you're a liar. And I was the biggest liar, but I would tell somebody else, you're lying. Right? So finally, God said, in order for you to heal, you have to be true to yourself. Mama Walker can't do it. Mama couldn't do it. My mother couldn't do it. Lady had to do it. And I said, but who is Lady? Because I'm Lady, I'm Chubby, all the names that Shay said I am. But then God said, I called you Linda. Before your mother even thought to name you that. I called you Linda. I was like, what? She picked that because my aunt's name is Linda. That's why I'm Linda, right? I was like, no, I knew you before you were even born. And I knew what your name was going to be. And see, there was a name change that took place for me in 2010 because all my life I was Linda Robinson. But that wasn't my name. That belonged to a man that wasn't even my father. But my grandmother strategically changed my name in 1995, but I wasn't made aware of it until 2010. And if you follow me, I'm going to let you understand that my message today is there is clarity in chaos.
That's good. Wow.
When God showed me what was going to happen today, I said, I can't do that. I'm not about to go out there like that. I can't. Because everything in my life was chaotic. From finding out at 5 that my grandmother wasn't my mother, that my mother was actually in jail, and she was sticking her head when she got out of jail into my kindergarten window. And I'm like, who was that woman? She looked like a man. She had her hair cut short. I go home and my grandmother says, that's your mother. And I'm like, yeah, right, you're supposed to be my mother. So I made up in my mind then that I was going to raise hell and make everybody pay for what my mother had done to me. How many of y'all know that God's grace is sufficient even for me, right? Because see, if my grandmother had treated me the way that I treated her, I wouldn't be standing here right now. So it makes me think about all of the chaos I caused. She kept saying, lady, I see different in you. You can raise all the hell you want. But in the end, God's going to get the glory for your life. Because they said you wouldn't make it. They said you wouldn't be here. They told me to put you in a mental institution, lock the keys away, and don't bring you back in this house. Because I'm going to be the reason she dies, is what they told her. She said, no, my God, there's nothing she can do to me that will kill me. That stuck with me because I even wished her dead at one point. And she stood up to me one day and said, God is going to get you if you do not change who you are. Because I know who I serve and I know who I am. And even though I'm your mother, I love you enough to tell you that hell is hot and I will not meet you there. Wow. So it brought me to when God gave me this message. It took me to Psalms 46. And it says, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way, though the mountains be moved into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble at its swelling. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. God will help her when morning dawns. The nations rage, the kingdoms totter. He utters his voice, the earth melts. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Come behold the work of the Lord, how he has brought desolations on the earth. He makes war cease to the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the chariots with fire. Be still and know that I am God. And I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. I thank God for that word. And then it took me to, what was this Psalms about? And so it made me study 2 Chronicles 32. And that was a time where Sennacherib was basically telling Hezekiah that he was not going to be able to defeat him. He said, I don't care what God you serve, because every other God that's tried to come up before me in every nation, I defeated. And I don't care what makes you think that your Lord is so great that you can defeat me. There's nothing you can do. Well, you know what Hezekiah and Isaiah did? They started to pray. Right. And guess what? They defeated him. And he had to go back to where he came from. See, that's the same like some people in our lives that will talk all kinds of evil over you and try to make you think that the God you serve is not really the God that can bring you out of everything. And don't get me wrong, because we living in a time where everybody wants to talk about one sin being greater than the other, and because you live of a certain lifestyle, that makes you better than the next, person. And how many people sit in the church wearing a mask, wearing everything that I have on them, but because they don't do one particular sin, that makes them saved? I'm here to tell you that that's not true.
Oh my God.
I'm here to tell you that there's clarity in your chaos, because I sat in church with all of that on me for years, out of formality, because you're supposed to go to church and that's what you're supposed to do. And if I don't care if you party all day Saturday, you better be in church on Sunday morning. So when I made the choice at 16 to walk away from church, it was strategically planned that, okay, Linda, since you want to do this your way, I'm going to take you through all of this to save somebody else. Because it was never about me. And see, we get confused when we go through trials and tribulations, and we make it personal, that it's about you. See, the choices we make cause the chaos in our lives, but God says, since you want to cause the chaos, I'm going to make it work for my good. I'm going to make it work so that everybody knows it wasn't you that brought yourself out of this.
That's right.
I had to bring you out of this. And nobody but God could deliver me. See, that person right there sometimes wants to rise back up. And I got to be like, nah, Satan, not today. You ain't coming back here, because I've come too far.
Yes.
There was times where the doctors didn't know and would tell me, you better prepare for your funeral because you're not walking out of here. There were times Mama Walker and Elder Walker, who I call my dad, would come to the hospital, and I was so drugged up that I couldn't even wake up at one point. But I woke up and I saw them standing over me. And that's how I knew that God was real, because when you can't even speak, you have to have God here. That's why it says keep your mind stayed on Jesus. And I wasn't nowhere near where I'm at now. I was still doing some of Linda's things that was not what God had called me to do. And when God gave to me that if you want to survive, you've got to let it all go. You can't keep picking it up. You can't worry about what they say about you. And then Mom preached a sermon, who are the theys in your life? And I was like, I worry too much, even with my own mind, about who is there. And then I realized that they said I couldn't do it, but guess what? That's why I did.
Yes.
And see, it's important for me.